Hello everyone and welcome to Farm Bureau's Voices of Agriculture, this week coming to you from the state of Mississippi. On the show this time, we visit Mississippi State University's cheese-making plant.
The longer a cheese ages, the sharper a cheese will be, and a lot of people don't realize that.
We talk with a farmer who's getting out of the catfish business.
I've been losing customers, so with nowhere to sell my fish, I have decided it's time for me to exit the industry.
And we explain a partnership between Farm Families of Mississippi and Eat Jackson, a web-based food promotion site.
I think we're scratching the surface of a really powerful thing because we're connecting consumers through what we do to the chefs and to the farmers.
Plus, we'll have our Mississippi on the Menu segment with Nancy Freeman. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
I'm a Mississippi poultry and produce farmer. Safe, nutritious, affordable food is vitally important to the health of our families and our economy. We cannot put the safety of our food into the hands of countries with polluted air and water, unregulated pesticides, and chemicals. It's important to me that the food that we put on our dinner table is safe and nutritious. That's why I buy products that are grown in America, preferably in Mississippi.
The Farm Families of Mississippi.
Those of you watching that are not from Mississippi probably have no idea what I'm holding in my hand. But Mississippians will immediately recognize this as one of the famous Edam cheese balls from Mississippi State University. Mississippi State has been making these cheese balls since 1938. It's a pretty interesting process. Edam cheese is a semi-hard cheese that originated in the Netherlands. It was introduced at Mississippi State by Dairy Science Department professor F.H. Herzer. The making of cheese was incorporated into the curriculum, and production was about 9 Edam balls per day. Now they produce 400 a day.
Our production is a lot higher than it was in 1938, but we have pretty much maxed our production capacity here, so we haven't really had any changes in the numbers that we're making in a long time, just because we're not able to make any more than we are.
Making cheese is a very precise process, and it all starts with the milk.
We have our own dairy here. We have our own transportation truck to transport the milk. So we go to the barn, pick up the milk, bring it back, pump it into one of our storage tanks, and then from there we will pull it out, pasteurize it, and pump it into a cheese vat. Then we will add a starter culture, a rennet, which is a coagulator, and then the color is also added to everything that we make except vinaigrette, which is white. So we add those 3 ingredients. It sits undisturbed for about 30 minutes after the rennet is added to it. During that sitting process, it will coagulate and kind of be, best I can describe, kind of like a soft pudding. We will cut that into small cubes. Then we will heat it up to 102 degrees and go through a cooking process. After that has been done, we will drain the whey off of it and monitor the acidity. And when the acidity level gets to the range that we're wanting, we will then what we call hoop it, but basically weigh it, whatever weight is appropriate for that particular cheese, we'll weigh it and put it into the appropriate mold for that type of cheese, and then it goes into a press, where it's pressed back into the form of the shape, whatever shape we're pressing for, and also get it back into a solid mass.
Edam cheese will stay in the press for about an hour. It's then placed in a salt solution for 48 hours.
After 48 hours, we take the cheese out of the salt solution, dip it into a antimicrobial solution to help prevent mold, and then we will let it dry for 24 hours. We'll come back the next morning and wax that cheese, dip it in wax, put a bag on it that has a Mississippi State seal, and then it will be sent to a cooler to age.
Sealing with red wax helps prevent mold growth and also makes it more attractive to sell. But it's the aging in the cooler that puts the taste in the cheese.
The longer a cheese ages, the sharper a cheese will be, and a lot of people don't realize that. They think sharp cheese is something that's a whole different formula. But the only difference between a mild cheese and a sharp cheese is aging. A sharp cheese is going to be somewhere in a year range, and a mild cheese is going to be somewhere in a 2-3 month range.
While Edam is the most popular cheese, Vinaigrette, which is a baby Swiss cheese, is a close second. Being a part of the food science department, the cheese plant also makes other products.
We make butter that we sell, extremely good butter made out of very fresh cream, and it really is a good product. We pack it into 60-pound boxes and we freeze that. And we freeze it until we get so much accumulated that we need to move some of it and get it out of our way. So we'll accumulate it and then we'll sell it to whatever market we can find that will purchase it.
A very popular product on this campus is the ice cream.
Ice cream is really gotten bigger and bigger as well. It's tough for us to keep up with the demand on that, but we do. We have about 14 flavors of ice cream now that we're making. 7 of those flavors we put into 8-ounce cups. The rest of them, plus those 7, go into half-gallons and 3-gallon cans. We're selling a bunch of it, and we don't sell it anywhere off campus.
The cheese plant is a teaching and research laboratory giving students the opportunity to work in a live production atmosphere. It's a self-supporting plant that promotes Mississippi State University and the state of Mississippi. For more information or to order your own cheese products, visit msucheese.com. Mississippi leads the nation in farm-raised catfish production, but over the last few years, catfish production has shrunk almost in half, and it's putting local fish farmers out of business. Louis Thompson and his family were one of the first catfish farmers in the state and helped build an industry that made Mississippi the #1 catfish state in the nation. But declining sales and high feed costs have driven many farmers out of the business.
In recent years, the industry's been shrinking, and a lot of the farmers that I'd been supplying have decided to call it quits, hang it up. So I've been losing customers. So with nowhere to sell my fish, I've decided it's time for me to exit the industry.
Thompson is in the fingerling business, which means he hatches the fish from eggs and grows them to the size that farmers can use to stock their ponds. So what's causing the drop in sales?
There's been a combination of things. Import pressure from Vietnam and China has caused some market problems. The high grain prices have caused feed to be excessively high, and those things in combination have really taken its toll. The food fish guys can't get enough for their product to stay in business, therefore the shrinkage of the industry.
Roger Barlow is the president of the Catfish Institute, which is the marketing arm of the U.S. farm-raised catfish industry.
I don't know of anyone that is in production of catfish today that's making money. So the example of who is making money doesn't exist. The production costs just exceed the market price that our farmers are receiving for their products. So it has affected every single person. I mean, we have a recession, and that's affected a lot of people that are choosing to go out and buy catfish at a restaurant. But also the recession has hurt on the ag credit side as well. When you're not making money, it gets harder to get production loans at a commercial bank. So it has affected everyone in a negative way that's involved in the catfish industry.
Catfish farmers need about $1 to $1.10 per pound to break even. Right now, they're receiving about 85 to 95 cents a pound.
There's a struggle at that farm. That question is being asked every day. Whether there are breakthroughs or not, we are scratching a hole in our head trying to figure out a way that a farmer that wants to be a catfish farmer and a young farmer that wants to get into the catfish industry business, how he can do that. And there's innovations and there's breakthroughs that I hope will come about. We're making decisions now that's going to affect our industry for the next 5 or 10 years right now. It could be production, it could be feed, it could be stocking density. There's a lot of on-farm activity that we're trying to do to ensure that we have production of U.S. farm-raised catfish in this country.
Marketing is a fundamental key to the catfish industry. Their greatest asset is consumers and their desire to purchase U.S. farm-raised catfish.
They know that there's a difference between our product and imported product.
There are certain therapeutics chemicals, antibiotics that are not allowed to be used in the U.S. for good reason. There may be carcinogens or have some other bad effect, so we do not use those in our domestic industry. And they can use those and do.
When we look at our consumer, the number one thing that they like about our product is taste. They love U.S. farm-raised catfish. They love the taste of it. They love the versatility of it. Yes, they do know that there's a difference between our product and imported product, and continuing with that education outreach as part of our job is so that consumers will look for U.S. farm-raised catfish at the grocery store and will ask for it at the restaurant. So it is very much an important part of what we do.
The catfish industry provides a lot of jobs.
It's not just that farmer that benefits from it. It's many small towns, it's many small companies, it's large processors, it's feed mills, it's agroeconomic development. And it's meant so much to so many of the poorest regions of the poorest states. The future of American agriculture is in the hands of the American consumer. We are American farmers raising an American catfish for that American consumer. I think that that's one of the things that this country doesn't realize, that the farmers are our greatest asset and the value of the product that we offer.
According to the Cooperative Extension Service, the catfish industry has lost 5,000 jobs and 75% of its market share since 2001. Coming up, we have a feature about a partnership that's promoting the use of locally produced products in restaurants. Stay with us.
The day starts very early on a Mississippi farm. There are animals to be fed, clean water to be dispensed, lots of chores to be done.
I make a large investment in my animals, and I make sure that they're well fed and taken care of. That's not just smart business, that's the right thing to do.
The Farm Families of Mississippi, growing Mississippi's future.
Restaurants buying locally produced foods and holding farm-to-table dinners are all the rage right now, but that hasn't always been the case. It didn't used to be standard practice for restaurants to seek out local farmers to supply their restaurants with food. There was no system in place to even find the farmers and get their products from the farm to the eatery. But that has changed now. Cotton Blue's restaurant in Hattiesburg has been open for about a year and embraces the concept of buying locally.
Here at Cotton Blue's, we focus mainly on all farm fresh ingredients. Most of our stuff comes from local providers. We don't really source anything much from Cisco as far as our fresh foods, fresh produce, fresh proteins, and all that goes. We try to keep everything as local as possible from within the state.
Buying and serving locally produced products is a concept that two Mississippi organizations fully support. Farm Families of Mississippi and Eat Jackson carry this message as a foundation for all the activities they're involved in. Farm Families of Mississippi is a group of more than 175 organizations, businesses, and individuals with the sole objective of educating the general public about the benefits of agriculture. Eat Jackson started as just one guy writing about food in the Jackson area, but has grown to be a statewide online presence that is read by thousands of readers weekly.
The Farm Families are they're who supports our restaurants with the corn, the tomato, all those things that came in here, the beef, the eggs, all those are farmers that are different families. My wife's family is farmers. We grew stuff growing up, and that's the core of the restaurant industry is what ingredients can you get? And so supporting them and saying, hey, let's support these local farmers and promoting them it's a perfect fit for the restaurant industry because that's what we're doing. I mean, the more people buy great food at restaurants that came from down the street, the better the farmer's going to do, the better the restaurant's going to do. So it's a great marriage of the two industries, and we like to, facilitate. We're glad to facilitate that, and it seems to work really well.
One way of fostering this farm-to-table concept is by the holding of events called Chef's Table Dinners. These events feature two Mississippi chefs preparing dishes with locally sourced ingredients.
It's pretty much all I use. I'm a little suspicious of fruit that has to ride on a boat. If it doesn't come from down the road, it's not in season anyway, so it's not something I would want to use. Our beef supplier, I can drive up and look at the farm whenever I want to. Our tomatoes all come from one farm in Smith County with the Arender brothers. They tell me what tomatoes are coming in, and I know what to put on my menu next. It's the way we should be eating. If it's going to come from a local supplier, it's going to be fresher, it's going to be better for you, it's just going to be a better dish, and it's going to taste better.
If you look at some of the best restaurant cultures in America, you think of Charleston, you think of New Orleans, they're surrounded by farms, and there's all this local stuff that they get and they use, and they win lots of awards and they do a lot of stuff. And so really the core of a restaurant is what food can you get to serve? And so you're only as strong as your ingredients. So by promoting local farmers and the local farm families and that sort of thing, that's what restaurants are serving.
It means a lot to the customers too.
It's great. I mean, that's kind of the concept behind Cotton Blues, and we love that. Our friend that we came with downtown tries to use all local farmers and markets for a lot of his products, so we're real into supporting the locals.
The Chef's Table dinners and the partnership between Farm Families of Mississippi and Eat Jackson are in their infancy, but the concept is growing stronger.
I think we're scratching the surface of a really, really powerful thing because we're connecting consumers through what we do to the chefs and to the farmers. And so consumers are learning about different farms in different places, and they're saying, oh wait, I can get stuff that was grown here instead of across the world, shipped in a who knows how it was harvested, whatever. And we're connecting people back directly to the farm. And I think that's really powerful.
On our Meet the Farmer segment this time, we visit with Clint and Tiffany Russell from Bolivar County.
We've got a 3,000-acre, basically grain farm, rice, corn, and soybeans. I've been farming since about 1999 or so, and with my dad. And then when he passed away in 2001, I had the opportunity to continue the operation and chose to do so, and started out with about 1,400 acres at that point and have grown to 3,000 now.
Clint says that water management is the major issue facing farmers in the Delta.
We know that our water table is experiencing some difficulty, and we realize that if we don't do something about it now, in the future it's going to be too late. So, Farm Bureaus, several organizations are getting together to try to come up with economically feasible ways for farmers to address that problem. And I definitely agree with that and want to be part of the solution.
Keeping his machinery up to date has been one of the most important things that Clint does on his farm. Having newer and more precise planting equipment, using GPS technology, and purchasing larger, more efficient harvesting equipment have been the most significant investments to improve his farm. Despite what many people say, Clint thinks the public appreciates all the hard work a farmer does.
I think when they find out how hard we do work, yes, they do. They understand. They understand that we work hard just like anybody else that runs a business or has a job and works hard for somebody. Doesn't matter what you do. If you work hard, you're doing something good, and you can appreciate somebody else that works hard. And when they understand where their food comes from, the beginning of it, and how it gets to their plate at the table to feed their family, I think they do appreciate what we do.
Tiffany is a fourth grade language, arts, and science teacher in the community, and she's also an adjunct teacher at Delta State University. The Russells have two children, 9-year-old daughter Anna and 7-year-old son Colin. We'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay with us.
When someone asks me why I'm a farmer, it's an easy answer. I love the land. I'm proud to be a Mississippi farmer because I know that the work that thousands of Mississippi farmers and I do is important. A safe food source is a national security issue. We cannot rely on other countries with contaminated air and water to provide our families with safe, nutritious food.
The Farm Families of Mississippi, growing safe, nutritious food for your family.
Now it's time for our Mississippi on the Menu segment with our home economist, Nancy Freeman, as she prepares baked catfish nuggets.
Oh, I love a good catfish dinner, don't you? You know, it's just one of my favorite things I can remember having was catfish dinner at least once or twice a week, and there's so many versatile ways to use catfish, but you have to be careful when you buy catfish these days. There's a lot of inferior catfish on the market that are from other countries, and you want to look for Mississippi farm-raised catfish. It's been raised with the highest quality standards, and it goes from production from beginning to end in 30 minutes. So you want to be careful that you're purchasing Mississippi farm-raised catfish. Now here's a great little recipe for catfish. Why not have some catfish nuggets? In the bowl I've got olive oil and I've got lemon juice, and I'm just going to whisk that up a little bit to kind of blend it pretty good. And then I've taken some catfish fillets and I just cut it up into the nuggets. Any size that you want is perfectly fine that you can use. And then our breading is going to be some plain breadcrumbs, a little bit of garlic powder. Now be sure that's garlic powder, not garlic salt. A little bit of fresh Parmesan cheese, and then a little bit, just a dash, of white pepper. You want to be sure this is mixed up a little bit. We're going to take our catfish and you're just going to roll it in one, roll it in the other, and you put it onto a greased baking sheet. This particular recipe is going to go into our oven for about 20 minutes at 400 degrees, and then we're going to lower it down to 350 for the last few minutes that it cooks, and it's going to come out really nice and crispy. We're going to dust it with a little bit of paprika. Helps it with the color a little bit, and then we're going to give it a little bit of a spray of a non-stick cooking spray. That's going to help with our crisp. And as you can see on the finished product, it comes out delicious. Who wouldn't want to have a plate of crispy catfish chicken nuggets to have for your dinner this evening? Remember that you need to check out farm-raised catfish and check out our website at growingmississippi.org.
And that's all the time we have for this edition of Voices of Agriculture. We hope you've enjoyed the show and will be with us again next time. For all of us here at the Mississippi Farm Bureau, thanks for watching.